Off time. Let's take 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Standard Oil Sports Network.
WVLK, Lexington, Kentucky.
Here at the Coliseum in Lexington, we're ready to go as Vanderbilt is out and Kentucky parades out. Don Hinton at 6'6" will jump with Ed Beck. Kentucky holds 1-inch height advantage. Vandy gets it back at the forwards, though. 6'4" Ben Rowan to 6'3" John Krigler. Here's the tap. The ball game is underway as Odie Smith gets it driving in front court down the left side to the corner. Passing to Johnny Cox now deep to Smith to Hatton as the Cats set it up. Down the right to Krigler to Smith. Breaking right side free throw line deep. Passing out to Cox back to Smith. The Cats go back at it again. Beck playing off the right of the pivot. Hatton comes down to the baseline, gets by Hinton, double team, lays it in, and it counts with a foul on the play. Charging by Vernon Hatton. The foul on Vernon Hatton is the first one of the ball game after 19 seconds of play, but Kentucky leads by 2-0 as Hatton bowled his way in under the basket to lay it in. Shooting for Vanderbilt will be the high-scoring captain Jim Henry. Ben Rowan, who's in that Vanderbilt lineup now. Great rebounder, the best jumper on the team. The shot's good by Henry, and so the score is 2-1 at Hatton exchange a field goal with Henry. Hatton back in front court quickly, whips right side to Krigler, makes a fake against Rowan, gives to Beck on the right side off the pivot. In the pivot to Cox, knocked away and taken by Henry of Vandy, knocked down by Hatton, but picked up on the right side by Hoagland. Hub Hoagland takes Vanderbilt back to the attack now. They trail 1 point. Here's Jimmy French moving to the right side. Gives off to Hinton, who's come out of the pivot. They're playing Ben Rowan in there right now. On the left to Hoagland, under the basket to Hinton. Wide open, he lays it in. Don Hinton with his first field goal gives Vandy a run of 3, and Kentucky trails 3-2. Up into front court, Smith feeds right side to Krigler. Out deep to Hatton. He weaves, drives to the right, gives to Smith. Breaks out, can't get a jump shot away on French. Over to Cox, takes it into the right corner with French on him. Into Beck. Cox goes through, gets it back, wide open, misses. Rebound beautiful by Krigler, who lays it in. John Krigler with his first field goal puts Kentucky in front 4-3. Henry picked up by Adrian Smith, gets away, driving down the left side. Then passes out to French, moving down the left side. Back out to Henry. Hatton picks him up at the top rim of the circle as he moves to the right. Vanderbilt plays the double pivot. Out high is Rowan as Hinton plays the forward now. French breaks to the right as Smith goes through. He gives to Henry. Set shot no good. High over the rim is Beck with a rebound, and a foul is called on Vanderbilt. Drawing the personal foul is number 43. That's Ben Rowan. So that's the first one against the Commodores. One on each team as Ed Beck goes to the free throw line for one shot. Each of the fouls committed in this game has been in backcourt. 1 minute, 34 seconds gone. Kentucky with a 1-point edge. Beck has a chance for a free throw to become the third Cat to score. He missed it. Taken off by Vandy. Rowan, who committed the foul, gets it. Over to Jimmy French, who moves up over the center stripe, fakes to break, pulls up out deep, whips one on the right side now to Hoagland. He throws it too far on the lead to Henry, and it's knocked away by Hatton. Vanderbilt takes it over the baseline to the right of the basket. Henry will put it in play. Looks at Hoagland, passes under the basket to Rowan. Jump shot blocked by Cox on the floor. Hatton picks it up. Moves up over the center stripe, gets Henry on his back, and at the free throw line starts to shoot. Knocked down by French. Krigler and Hatton move in and tie him up. Brisk fighting for that ball. 2 minutes, 4 seconds gone. Cats lead 4-3 over the Commodores as Hatton 6'3.5" jumps with 5'7" Jimmy French and taps right back to Adrian Smith. Moves to the left, takes a shot from 10 feet and misses. Tapped by Beck, by Cox, and taken off by Vandy's Hub Hoagland. Over to Ben Rowan, hands off to Jimmy French as the Commodore guards come back. French down the right side with Adrian Smith, takes him to the corner, then passes out to Hub Hoagland, who's got Krigler against him. Deep now to Henry. On the left side of the pivot to Hinton. He looks for that guard breaking through there. Turns and shoots over Cox. No good. Cox gets the rebound on the bounce. Spins away for a 2-1, 3-1 break. Here's Odie Smith pulling up on the left side. Turning, shooting, missing. Hinton rebounds for Vandy. Passes over to French. And the Commodores slow it down. Kentucky 4, Vanderbilt 3. Coach Bob Polk of Vandy was up off the bench then, yelling instructions to French as he moves slowly up the backcourt. Down the left side it goes to Hoagland. Hoagland still deep with it, moving to his right. 3 minutes gone. Kentucky leads 4-3. Into the right side of the double pivot, it goes to Hinton. Outside to French at the top of the circle, and he backs away from Hatton to reset the offense. It's strong to the right. Pass goes to Rowan in the pivot now. Hinton goes through. Henry goes by. He takes it right, gives to Henry. Breaks out to the free throw line. Hangs on to it, keeping his back to the basket. Over to Rowan now. Rowan out deep with it on the side. Passing across the Kentucky man-to-man defense to Henry. On the left side to Hoagland. Hoagland weaves, drives, keeps his back-to-back. Outside pass to Hinton, deeper than the free throw line, a little bit to the left. Over to Hub Hoagland, who brings it back outside. Vanderbilt not getting the offense to click just the way they wanted for that good shot. Here's Henry now feeding Hinton on the double pivot. Looking for his man open. Can't get him, gives it back deep to French, and from 30 feet, he missed it, went in and came out on him. Rebounding Johnny Cox. Over to Adrian Smith, mows it in front court. Takes it over to the free throw line, whips to Hatton in the right corner, fakes a shot, breaks right by Henry, and shoots no good. Taken off by Hinton of Vanderbilt, who fights his way around the 3-second zone, trying to get Hatton away from him. Gives it over to French now. Back up into front court now. Picked up quickly by Adrian Smith. He gives to Hinton on the right side. Outside to French again and over to Henry. Henry down the left side to Hub Hoagland. Turns on Krigler, looks at the basket. Can't find his passing situation. Gives a bounce pass to Henry. Dropped it on his knee. Falls away and misses. Krigler is fouled as he goes for the rebound by Hub Hoagland. It's the first foul on Hoagland. The second one against the Commodores. And so far in this game, we've had 3 personal fouls, all committed in backcourt. So Krigler makes his first appearance at the Kentucky free throw line. Hatton hit a driving one-hander to open the game in 19 seconds. Fouling Henry hit the free throw, and then Hinton with a lay-in gave Vandy its only lead. And now Krigler with his free throw attempt good gives Kentucky 5-3 advantage. So now Captain Jim Henry, a junior for the Commodores, brings them back to the attack. Down the left side, a high pass to Rowan. He's got Beck on him, brings him deep, gives to Hinton, goes by. Hinton holds the ball, gives to French, a bad pass that he runs down in the left corner. Hatton goes in him. He hooks one high to Henry. That's knocked down by Smith, picked up by French, hooked across the way to Hub Hoagland, who brings it out deep. Starts again on Krigler to the baseline. Krieg doesn't turn loose of it, knocks it off his foot and out of bounds, and Kentucky gets possession. Hub Hoagland making the individual move then, tripped up by the defensive work of Krigler. Hatton back in front court, quips to Beck on the pivot. Beck back outside to Hatton, and from 30 feet, good. Vernon Hatton with his second field goal puts Kentucky in front 7-3 and timeout Vanderbilt. That's the first time out of the ball game after 5 minutes 5 seconds. The scoring so far, Vernon Hatton leads with 4 points and John Krigler with 3. Krigler has a field goal and a free throw. Beck has missed the only free throw of the game. Don Hinton has the Vanderbilt field goal and Jim Henry has the free throw as Kentucky leads 7-3. Vernon Hatton scored after 19 seconds of play, but charged into Henry in getting the field goal, and the Vanderbilt captain hit the free throw to make it a 2-1 game after 19 seconds. Then, after only 51 seconds had elapsed, Hinton got a lay-in to put Vandy in front 3-2. Since that, John Krigler has hit on a rebound attempt. Beck foul by Rowan missed, but Krigler on a foul by Hoagland hit, and now a 30-foot one-hander by Hatton has put Kentucky in front by 7-3. Our statistics at the moment show Kentucky hitting 3 field goals on 8 shots, and Vanderbilt has hit 1 for 4. It means Kentucky's hitting 37.5%, and Vanderbilt's hitting 25%. The other big games tonight, well, of course, a lot of folks are watching Alabama, which is in Baton Rouge, playing last place LSU. Back to play here in Lexington now, as Jimmy French moves slowly and deliberately up the backcourt for Vandy. Cross the line against Adrian Smith and down the right side. Outside to Henry. Henry staying deep, moving to the left on Hatton. Passes to Hub Hoagland on the left side of the double pivot. Out to Ben Rowan, who takes it deep on Ed Beck. Beck moves out to quickly cover up on him. He gives one into Hinton, breaking for the basket on Cox. A hook's no good. Beck rebounds, whips it up to Adrian Smith. In front court to Hatton on the right side. Goes for the basket, and Henry knocked it away from him and takes it up for Vandy as Hatton loses the ball to the fine defensive play of Vandy's captain, Jim Henry. Over to French now, who moves Vandy back to the attack. Adrian Smith goes down trying to get to the ball. French spins away for a 20-footer that's no good. Off with it is Adrian Smith on the rebound. Pulled Hoagland up on his back on a beautiful move. And it's foul number 2 on Hub Hoagland of Vandy. That's 3 fouls against the Commodores as they're going to change the lineup. Bringing into the action Jack Pirrie, Pirrie. He started against the Cats in Nashville. He's a 19-year-old sophomore from St. Louis, Missouri. Stands 6'5", weighs 200 pounds. And in spite of the fact he's a substitute now, he's the number 3 scorer with 230 points, an average of 11 per game. And out is Hub Hoagland. Adrian Smith has a chance to become the 3rd Wildcat to score as he stands in at the free throw line for 1 shot. It's no good. We've had 4 fouls in this game, all of them committed in backcourt. Vanderbilt's got the rebound, and Jimmy French moving in front court. Whips a high pass to Rowan on the right side of the double pivot. He fakes, drives on Beck, and he blocks the shot beautifully, and a jump ball as Krigler gets it with Hinton. Vanderbilt has the height advantage, as Hinton is 6'6" and Krigler 6'3", jumping at the Vanderbilt free throw line. 6 minutes gone. Here's the tap. Goes to Johnny Cox, as it was saved blindly by Rowan. Cox picked it up, moves down to the baseline in the left corner, turns, double-teamed. Passes one right into the hands of Hinton, who can't handle it, and Cox picks it up. Gives over to Smith, back to Hatton on the right side to Krigler, brings it out to the free throw line and shoots. No good. Back taps, no good. Vanderbilt rebounds as it's pulled in by Jack Peary. Peary to Rowan and over to French. Kentucky leads 7-3, and we've played 6.5 minutes. French in front court for Vandy. Gets away from Smith. Whips right side to Rowan. Here's his jump shot, good. So Ben Rowan breaks the long Vanderbilt drought. It's 7-5 now. Adrian Smith moving back in front court on the right side to Krigler, out to Hatton. Fakes from the outside, breaks away, double-teamed, shoots one through the legs of Cox and out of bounds to Vanderbilt. Vandy will have it at midcourt. We got 13 minutes to play here in the first half at Lexington. The score stands at only 7-5. Kentucky has 3 field goals to 2 for Vandy. That's the difference, as each team's picked up 1 free throw, but Kentucky's missed 2 out of 3 tries. Here's Hinton with it on the pivot outside to French. French fakes right, comes left, turns his back, gives to Henry, gets wide open at the free throw line and misses everything. Taken off by Rowan, and he's tied up as he jumps to shoot. 12 minutes and 48 seconds in the first half now. Beck represents Kentucky at 6'7". Rowan 6'4", gives the Cats 3 inches height advantage. But watch out, this Rowan is a great jumper. Here's the tap by Beck to Smith. Whips up the way to Vernon Hatton. Moving 1-1 against French. Rowan picks him up and turns him off. Over to Smith from 15 feet. He misses. Spins around and comes out to Peary of Vanderbilt. So the score remains 7-5 as the fans seem to be aghast at the inability of Kentucky to hit. Up into front court is Jimmy French. Hands off to Henry, moving to the left as Smith switches on it defensively. Over to Peary. He's got Krigler on him now. Breaks back to the left. Gives to Henry. Wide open from the left side. He lays it in. Henry hitting for his first field goal of the game and tying it up 7-7. Vernon Hatton moves the Wildcats back over the center stripe. Whips to Beck in the pivot. Spins to the right on Hinton. Triple team. Gives to Cox. 20-footer. No good. Beck taps. No good. Vanderbilt rebounds as it's taken out to French by Hinton. Beck runs him down and stops him out deep. He goes on into the right corner now. Passes deep to Rowan, who's got Odie Smith on him. Krigler switches off as he goes to the left corner. Now brings it back up the left side. Vanderbilt going for that basket to our left, the northern goal. French from the outside cans a 20-foot jump shot. His first field goal, and Vanderbilt leads 9-7. So Vanderbilt has been able to catch Kentucky after the Cats got on top by 4 points. Here's Cox, the top rim of the circle, moving to the left side. Pumps to Krigler under the basket. Starts a hook, and the ball's taken away from him by Jim Henry of Vandy. He moves Vandy slowly up the back court now. Kentucky's play far from sharp. With 11.5 minutes to go, driving is Rowan, slings it into the air, no good, and gets it slapped back to him by Peary and takes a jump shot, no good. Off the rim with it, the ball bounces out to Adrian Smith. Over to Hatton, who moves it up into front court. Henry goes for him and misses. Over to Cox on the right side, whips to Krigler, wide open. He got it. John Krigler with his second field goal ties it up 9-9 after 9 minutes. Jim Henry of Vandy walks up the back court. Over the 10-second line, and a high pass to Hinton on the left side of the double pivot as he goes by. A pushing foul on Vernon Hatton of Kentucky is his second one. So Kentucky draws its second personal, both committed by Hatton. Hoagland is on the Vanderbilt bench with 2 personals, and they as a team have committed 3. Jim Henry, who hasn't missed a Vanderbilt free throw, is on the line for 1. He shoots good, and Vandy leads 10-9. Kentucky has possession now as Hatton passes to Smith. French takes it away from him, and Smith knocked him to the floor. So for Adrian Smith, that's his first foul, and each team has committed 3 personals. 10 minutes and 46 seconds here in the first half. Vanderbilt's Jimmy French makes his first appearance at the free throw line. Vandy has not missed a free throw. Kentucky has only 1 in 3 attempts. Here's French for his free throw attempt. It's no good. Tap by Rowan, twice and in. So Ben Rowan, who got 2 taps at it to get his second field goal, puts the Commodores ahead 12-9. Here's Krigler in front court getting it from Smith to Hatton. He's got Peary on him, passes to Beck at the free throw line. Taken away from him, and Jimmy French takes it for Vandy. as Kentucky plays the same kind of ball they played Saturday night in Chicago. Here's French wide open from 15 feet. He missed it, and Krigler rebounds. Whips up to Johnny Cox. Cats have got a 3-2 fast break, and Cox goes to the floor, missed a crip shot, and a foul on Henry of Vanderbilt. It's a first foul against Jim Henry of Vandy, and the fourth on the Commodores. 10 minutes, 15 seconds in the first half. Johnny Cox takes 2. Cox has been shut out. This is his first appearance at the free throw line. Well, this is exactly the kind of ball game Kentucky played in Chicago Saturday night. Chock full of mistakes, and they've been unable to settle down here against Vandy. Here's the first one good by Cox to reduce the Commodore lead to 2 points. Cox on the line for his second one, a two-hand shooter, and it's good. Vanderbilt 12, Kentucky 11. Cox is the third Wildcat to score. Beck and Smith are still scoreless. Here's Henry in front court, drives left side on Hatton, gives to Perry, and a foul on Hatton for holding on. So Vernon Hatton picks up his third foul, and the Cats are going to have to make a change. Earl Atkins comes off the bench. 24-year-old senior from Ashland, who had such a great night in Nashville with 25 points. Hatton is out. Atkins, 6'4", weighs 180. Number 6 scorer with 83 for a 5.9 average. And Jack Perry on the Vanderbilt free throw line shooting 1 and missing. Ron taps, just misses. Beck slaps it out deep to Adrian Smith. Kentucky's got a 4-2 break. Krigler from 15 feet misses. Cox taps. Krigler taps. Cox taps. Outside, Odie Smith has got it knocked away by Henry. Beck knocks it away from Perry and picks it up. In the left corner to Cox. Jump shot, no good. Krigler rebounds, knocked away and taken by Vanderbilt's Ben Rowan. And the Commodores hang on 12-11. Man, this is really scrapping for that ball out there tonight. Jimmy French walks up the back court, over the center line against Odie Smith, breaks down the right side, changing pace rapidly. Now passing deep to Henry with Atkins on him. Breaks to the right. Atkins knocks it down. Nobody picks it up. It rolls the width of the court, and Ben Rowan of Vanderbilt get it. Smith had a shot at it. Cox had a shot at it. Into the pivot it goes to Hinton of Vandy. He turns on Cox. Passes over to Rowan at the free throw line. Breaks to the right against Krigler, who pulls him up in the corner. Outside to Hinton, who hands to Henry. Vanderbilt leads 12-11 after 11 minutes. Here's French down the left side to Perry against Beck. Whips Hinton wide open, lays it in under the basket. Second field goal for Don Hinton, and Vanderbilt takes its second lead of 3 points, 14-11. Earl Atkins moves back in front court for the Wildcats. Down the right to Krigler, out to Smith. He fakes a set shot, drives on Perry to the right, gives to Krigler. Wide open, he lays it in. John Krigler leads Kentucky with his third field goal. Vanderbilt's lead is trimmed to 1 at 14-13. Back in front court's Jimmy French. Spins away from Adrian Smith, but can't get in as Smith picks him up. Crisscrosses, keeps, and gives to the left side of the double pivot to Perry. Perry fakes Krigler, drives in and hooks. No good to the right. Johnny Cox rebounds, has to fight to hold on, does. Gives it over to Adrian Smith, moving in front court, and it's taken away from him by Jack Perry. Adrian Smith just kept dribbling right down the court. Perry moved up on him and just took it away from him without hardly missing a dribble. Here's Henry back in front court, knocked down again by Atkins, but Henry saves. Pulls up deep, passes over to French. Moves to the right side, gives to Rowan, who brings it deeper. Rowan hands off to Henry, moving to the right side. Atkins picks him up in the switch. Into the double pivot to Perry. Henry breaks, can't get open, and Perry from 15 feet misses. Off with it is Hinton. Turns and shoots from the right side. No good. Earl Atkins knocks it down, but Henry picks it up and shoots. Good. So Jim Henry sacks up his second field goal, and Vanderbilt leads 16-13. Their third lead of 3 points. Adrian Smith on the right side to Krigler. Out to Atkins, left open. He fakes a shot, breaks in on Perry, and he's fouled by Perry as he breaks for the basket. It's personal foul number 1 on Jack Perry of the Commodores. Vandy as a team has committed 5. Earl Atkins makes his first appearance at the free throw line. 7.5 minutes to go here at the Coliseum in Lexington. Krigler and Smith are backed up in safety as Atkins, a set shot shooter, hits. Narrows the Vanderbilt lead to 2 points at 16-14. Jim Henry gets the incoming pass from Jimmy French and walks up the backcourt. Kentucky guards not putting on the defensive pressure until the center stripe. Here it is to Perry on the left side of the double pivot. Rowan goes under, but he passes to Hinton in the left corner. Off the Vanderbilt bench comes instructions to take it out, and they do, to Henry to French. Down to the right side to Perry. Looks through, gives out to Rowan at the free throw line. Spins right on Beck and hooks, no good. Slapped up by Perry, no good. Outside by Beck, who gets it for Kentucky. Whips to Adrian Smith. French turns him outside and stops. Over to Atkins. Down the left corner to Krigler. He takes a one-hander. Good. John Krigler picks up his 4th field goal, and Kentucky catches up at 16-all. Henry walking up the backcourt for Vandy. The left-hander crosses over, goes against Atkins down the right side to the corner as Vandy's going to bring Hub Hoagland back in at the next instant. Here's Jimmy French giving off the left side to Rowan now. Over to Peary. Henry is in on the double pivot. The bad pass draws him off into the right corner against Earl Atkins. Out to Jimmy French with Beck on him at the moment. Here's a whistle from the baseline. 3-second violation on Don Hinton of Vanderbilt. And the Wildcats get back to possession. Adrian Smith in the front court hits Krigler on the right side, reverses his court, goes to the baseline, shoots out to Atkins. 20-foot set shot. Good. And the fans scream as Atkins goes for the first time outside successfully. Kentucky 18, Vanderbilt 16. Back in the front court, Jimmy French. A high one to Hinton, 25 feet away. He goes into a crouch. Beck plays him loosely. Outside to Jimmy French now. Henry's playing the right forward at the moment as Rowan comes out at guard. Gets the pass from French. Whips to the double pivot to Peary. Peary passes deep to Rowan. Down the left side to French, who brings it out front with Atkins switching off on him. Takes it to the right side. Beck switches off on him as Kentucky switches. Down to the right side to Peary and right back to French. Shoots from 30 feet and hits. So Jimmy French cans his 2nd field goal to match those 2 by Rowan, the 2 by Hinton, French, and Henry to make it 18-18. 5.5 minutes to go. Atkins down the right side for Kentucky. Passes deep to Cox. 20-foot jump shot. Good. So Johnny Cox gets his 1st field goal of the game. Kentucky leads 20-18. As all the starters except Beck and Smith have scored. In the front court, French gives a high one to Krigler. Takes away from Jack Peary. Goes 2-on-1 with Smith, and Krigler wide open. Lays it in. John Krigler has 5 field goals and 11 points. And timeout, Vanderbilt. Hub Hoagland checks back into the Commodore lineup, and coming out is Jack Peary, we believe. 5 minutes, 4 seconds here in the first half, and the score is Kentucky 22, Vanderbilt 18. Kentucky has had 2 leads of 4 points, 7-3 and 22-18. Vanderbilt, meanwhile, has had 3 3-point leads. After the timeout, when Kentucky was ahead 7-3, Peary, fouled by Hoagland, missed the free throw, but Rowan came back with a 15-footer. Henry hit from 10 feet and French from 15 feet to put Vandy on top 9-7 after the timeout. Then Krigler from underneath tied it up 9-all. So far, the game has been tied up 4 times at 7-all, 9-all, 16-all, 18-all. And from an 18-all tie, Cox from 20 feet, Krigler on that fast break has given Kentucky a 4-point edge. Kentucky is being led by John Krigler with 5 field goals and a free throw and 11 points. Vanderbilt is being paced by Jim Henry with 6 points. Henry, French, Hinton, and Rowan each have 2 field goals. Kentucky's hit 9 for 26. Vanderbilt 9 for 25. It's the only difference at the moment. Free throws. Up in the front court we go now with Henry of Vanderbilt passing into Hub Hoagland. Back in that double pivot into Hinton. Hooks and hits. Getting away from Johnny Cox on the right side. Don Hinton leads Vandy in that department with his 3rd field goal and makes it 22-20. Up in the front court, Earl Atkins gives a high one to Beck that's knocked down, but Hinton fouled him in doing it. And that's the first personal foul on 6'6" Don Hinton of Vanderbilt. Sends Ed Beck to the free throw line. Beck's had 1 chance and missed. That's 6 personal fouls against Vanderbilt, which means after this, the bonus rule will be in effect. Hatton is out of the game with 3 personal fouls. Beck's free throw good. His first point of the game as he's the 5th Wildcat to score. It's 23-20 for Kentucky. Back up in the front court now is Jimmy French of Vandy. Fakes right, comes left, spins back to the right to the top rim of the circle and gives off to Hub Hoagland. Whips under the basket to Henry. Fakes Atkins, who blocked it. But a whistle and a foul goes against him. Earl Atkins drawing his first foul of the game. That's the 5th one against the Wildcats. 2 shots are being awarded Jim Henry. Atkins blocked the ball very cleanly, but apparently got a little bit too much body into it. First free throw good by Henry. Narrows the Kentucky lead to 2 points. 4 minutes and 36 seconds here in the first half. Henry, a left-hander, pumps up the second one good. Kentucky's lead is trimmed to 23-22. Earl Atkins wheeling back quickly in front court. Lets Beck get by him and on into the pivot. Hits him with a high pass. Hands off to Atkins. Fakes a set shot. Drives in for a 15-footer. No good. Tapped by Cox. No good. Cox rebounds. Can't get out of there with it, and he's tied up. 4 minutes, 20 seconds now in the first half. Kentucky leads 23-22. Johnny Cox 6'4", Henry 6 feet. Henry tried to hang out around the Vanderbilt bench unnoticed and not be brought into this jump where he's 4 inches the shorter at the Kentucky free throw line. Here's the toss, the tip by Cox to Atkins. Just in behind him at the top of the circle. Whips to Beck in the pivot, breaks by. Beck hands off to Smith, moving to the right. Hesitates, gives to Krigler, breaks out. 10-footer, it's good. John Krigler sacks up 6 field goals, and the Cats lead 25-22. Back in the front court, French driving down the right side for Vandy, gives to Rowan, bringing it outside. Against Cox, he drives to the free throw line, turns and hands to Hinton. Outside to French. French, an outside shooter. Sights that basket a couple of times on Smith, then gives to Hoagland on the left side. Fakes Krigler, breaks and lays it in. Hub Hoagland gets his first field goal. The score is 25-24. Odie Smith moves the Cats back to the attack. Down the right side to Krigler, a one-bounce dribble and hands to Atkins. Atkins in the pivot to Beck. Off the right side to Krigler. From 20 feet, Krigler misses. Beck taps it out to Cox at the free throw line, and he's immediately fouled by Ben Rowan of Vanderbilt, drawing his second personal. And the bonus rule goes into effect as Johnny Cox goes to the free throw line, 2 for 2. 3 minutes and 27 seconds here in this first half at Lexington. Kentucky with a 1-point edge. This will be the first bonus situation that's cropped up in the contest. Cox's free throw good, and Kentucky takes a 2-point edge. Cox stands in now for his bonus shot. Two-handed free throw, good. Kentucky 27, Vanderbilt 24. The Cats have had 2 4-point edges. Vandy's had 3 3-point differences in their favor. French in front court keeps. Atkins picks him up on the right-hand side of the court. Out deep to Henry. Henry moves to the left, cuts back to the free throw line. Smith stays with him as he gives back to French. French moves to the left. Smith switching off, gives to Hinton. Breaks for the basket, double team, gives it over to Rowan. He can't get a shot out of there and passes deep to Henry. Henry fakes back to the pivot and walks with it, and it's out of bounds to Kentucky. Odie Smith quickly out, passing into Earl Atkins, moving into front court now. Atkins looks at Cox, passes back to Smith. Krigler in under the basket, floating around on the baseline. Smith moves down that right side against Don Hinton. Turns, comes back out, double team, has it taken away from him as Jimmy French gets it for Vanderbilt. French gives over to Henry, breaks down the right side on Atkins, can't get a shot away. Walks with it as he breaks for the basket, and Kentucky gets it again. That's twice Vandy's moved into front court and has not gotten a shot on walking by Henry. Here's Krigler to Atkins, and from 30 feet, no good. On the rebound, a pushing foul against Johnny Cox of Kentucky. For Johnny Cox, it's his first foul. Now there are 6 fouls against Kentucky. 2 minutes, 26 seconds to go in this first half. Kentucky with a 3-point lead. Shooting for Vandy is Ben Rowan. Rowan will shoot 1. Vanderbilt's hit 4 for 5 at the free throw line. Kentucky has hit 7 for 9. Here's Rowan's free throw. It's good. Now the bonus rule will be in effect on either team. Up in the front court's Adrian Smith of Kentucky with a 27-25 lead. Off the right to Krigler. Breaks on Hoagland. Hinton picks him up. Triple team. Comes back. Lays it in. John Krigler picks up field goal number 7. Kentucky 29-25 over Vandy with their third 4-point edge. French in front court to the top of the circle. Gives to Hinton. Back to French over to Henry. Down the left side to Hoagland. Turns to face Krigler. Moves out to the free throw line. Passes out to Rowan. Rowan breaks down the right side on Krigler and shoots good. Ben Rowan with his third field goal to match those by Don Hinton pulls Vandy back to within 2 points, 29-27. Earl Atkins moves over the center stripe for Kentucky. Passes to Cox on the left side. Breaks on Rowan to the baseline. Can't get away and hooks. No good. Rowan gets the rebound for Vandy. Hands off to Jimmy French, and so with 1:35 in the first half, Vandy has a chance to tie it up. Pumped on the left side to Hoagland, drawing him out about 20 feet away, though. He moves back in, facing the basket. Whips one that Krigler knocks right back to him. Outside to French now. Vanderbilt takes it back to the outside. Over to Henry. Right side forward to Rowan. Whips to the free throw line to Hinton. Breaks left on Krigler to the baseline. Falls away and he misses. Off of the rebound beautifully is Ed Beck, going very high. Whips one right into the hands of Henry of Vanderbilt, though. He drives on Beck and lays it up. No good. Beck rebounds again. Has it taken away this time by Henry, who can't hold on, driving into the Kentucky bench. So the Cats finally get it back. Adrian Smith into Atkins with 1 minute in the first half. Kentucky 29, Vanderbilt 27. At Nashville, Kentucky had a 1-point halftime lead. Atkins a high one to Beck, out to Smith. Off the right to Krigler. He breaks on Hoagland. Henry picks him up. Krigler lays it in, though. 5 feet to the right. And John Krigler has 8 field goals to lead with 17 points. Kentucky 31, Vanderbilt 27. and the Cats have their fourth 4-point lead. 35 seconds in the first half as Henry breaks down the left side, cuts back, Krigler picks up, and he shoots in and out. Rebounding, knocked out of bounds by Hoagland of Vanderbilt, and Kentucky will take over. 26 seconds to go as Smith passes into Atkins with French hawking, passing to Beck just in front court. He hands over to Odie Smith, signaling, take one shot. Atkins from the outside, let alone by Henry for the moment. 15 seconds to go. Atkins just timing the ball, backing away from Henry. Calls Smith in close to him, gives to him. 8 seconds to go. Smith over to Atkins, in the pivot to Beck. Beck hands off to Smith, who shoots with 3 seconds to go. No good. Rebounding Cox gets it away. No good. Beck tapped it in, but well after the horn. So the score remains at halftime. Kentucky 31, Vanderbilt 27. In a close, hard-fought ball game, we'll have individual scoring. Right now, let's take 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Standard Oil Sports Network.
WVLK, Lexington.
Henry and French back at the Vanderbilt guards, and Rowan and Perry will be the forwards. And we're ready to go as Vanderbilt's Jimmy French sets it up to go. Passes over to Henry down the left side to Perry. French goes through. The pass off to Rowan at the free throw line. Breaks to the right. And as he gets a shot away that's no good, a foul on Ed Beck of Kentucky is his first one. That's also the first foul of the second half, coming 22 seconds after the start of play. And Rowan of Vanderbilt will take one. Rowan has not missed a free throw. Kentucky has a 4-point edge here on the Commodores. As Rowan, a right-hander, shoots and hits to make the score 31-28 in favor of Kentucky. Adrian Smith back over the center line, gives to Krigler on the right side, who takes Perry to the baseline, and Henry takes it away from him. Henry double-teaming Krigler, slipped it right away from him, and that has happened several times on Kentucky tonight as Vanderbilt has very cleverly double-teamed them. Here's Perry giving to Henry, wide open, he lays it in. So Vanderbilt, coming back with 3 quick points in the second half, has moved to within 1 point at 31-30. Atkins gives to Krigler on the right side, out to Odie Smith. Down the left side to Cox against Rowan, a one-bounce dribble, and over to Krigler, who pulls up from 15 feet and hits. John Krigler gets his 9th field goal to send Kentucky into a 33-30 edge. Jim Henry of Vandy, the captain, back over the center stripe against Atkins, moving to the right where Smith picks him up, whips to Hinton on the left side of the double pivot with Beck against him. He turns and quickly shoots one that's no good, and Atkins rebounds. Atkins back into front court very quickly now, moving to the left side, and Henry knocks it away from him, out of bounds. Kentucky keeps possession. That's almost twice that Henry has stolen the ball from Kentucky in less than a minute, 15 seconds. Passes into Smith, right side to Krigler, who's fouled by Perry from the rear. Second foul on Vandy's Jack Perry, and first against the Commodores for the second half. Atkins goes to the free throw line. Perry started to outbreak Atkins for the pass. When he saw he was whipped, he bumped into him. So Krigler will shoot one, and it's good. So each team has picked up 3 points in the second half after a minute and 20 seconds. And the score is Kentucky 34, Vanderbilt 30. It is Kentucky's 5th advantage of 4 points. Here's French in front court, hooking over to Henry. Fakes Atkins, who blocked the shot, coming back in beautifully. Rowan picks it up on the bounce, breaks to the free throw line, gives to Perry. He breaks in, turns his back on Krigler, has his shot blocked down by Cox, picked up by Rowan, breaks for the basket and walks with it, and it's out of bounds to Kentucky. Fine defensive play overall by the Cats that trip. Here's Earl Atkins in front court, whipping to Beck on the pivot outside Smith. Top rim of the circle, jump shot, no good. Perry high for the Vanderbilt rebound. Fights his way out of there with it, giving to French. Watches Hinton breaking for the basket, but Beck's got him covered. Whips to him now, high at the top rim of the circle. French goes by. Hinton almost tied up by Beck, gets it out to Perry now. Perry breaks to the right. Cox picks him up, dries him out as he passes to Jimmy French. French staying deep, moving to the right, looking at the Commodore bench. It is over to Perry, out to Henry, to Hinton on the double pivot. He shoots one in there to Rowan, gets his shot away, good, and fouled by Earl Atkins. The goal counts. That's the second foul on Atkins and the second foul on Kentucky in this half, as the field goal by Rowan is his 4th to give him the Vanderbilt lead in that department, and he'll take 1 free throw as Vandy now trails by only 2 points. French plays back on the Kentucky free throw line. Rowan hasn't missed a free throw. Shoots a one-hander that's no good this trip. Hinton taps it up, no good. Beck slaps outside to Smith. Almost caught Perry then, going by him too fast. Up in front court to Earl Atkins. In the right corner to Krigler. Jump shot, no, in and out. Rebounded by Hinton of Vanderbilt. Vernon Hatton waits to get in for the Wildcats now as they lead by 34-32. Jimmy French back in front court for the Commodores. Breaks to the right side where Atkins picks him up. He gives off to Rowan against Johnny Cox deep. Over to Henry, breaks to the right on Smith. Can't get away and walks with it. And he goes over to Kentucky off the side of the back court. The Cats are taking the northern basket off to our left in the second half. Into Atkins, back to Smith. He moves up into front court, whips to Beck in the pivot, breaks by. Beck from 15 feet shoots way to the right, no good. And Perry rebounds for Vandy. 3 minutes gone in the second half. Kentucky leads 34-32. They've been outscored by 1 point in the second half. 2 points correct us on that. Here's Henry hooking to Hinton on the left side of the double pivot. Under the basket to French, and Krigler takes it away. Passes over to Adrian Smith and up to Atkins. Atkins over the center stripe to set the Wildcats up. Passes to Beck on the pivot. Outside to Odie Smith. He breaks against Jack Perry to the right side. Turns his back on him. Looks for somebody to pass to. Gets Cox on the right side. In the pivot right to Jack Perry of Vanderbilt. He goes 2-on-1 against Atkins. Over to Henry, who lays it in. So Henry screaming in for his 4th field goal. Ties it up 34-all. The 5th time the game has been tied up, as the Commodores have outscored Kentucky now by 4 points in the second half. Krigler in front court, tries to shoot, has it blocked by Rowan and picked up by Cox. Whips to Beck on the pivot, off the right side to Smith from 20 feet. Good. So Adrian Smith gets his first point of the game to send Kentucky into a 36-34 lead, and Vanderbilt takes timeout number 3 in the game as Vernon Hatton comes in at guard. Hatton was taken out in the first half because of 3 personal fouls. Now he's coming in to replace Earl Atkins. So here in the second half, we saw Rowan, fouled by Beck, hit the free throw, and Henry pick up the Vanderbilt 12th field goal and cut the Kentucky lead to 1 point. However, Krigler came back with a 15-footer, and Atkins with a free throw to bring the Cats back in front by their halftime 4 points at 34-30. Then Rowan picked up a 10-footer. At the free throw line, he missed, but Henry stole the ball and scored on a fast break to deadlock the game for the 5th time, 34-all. Now we've had a 20-foot outside shot by Odie Smith, his first field goal of the game, to give Kentucky a 36-34 advantage. Cats have 6 men in the scoring column compared to 5 for Vanderbilt. 16 minutes and 4 seconds in this ball game. Kentucky's last scheduled home appearance. As we go back to play, Vandy has it under the Kentucky basket. All 3 times out in the game have been called by the Commodores. French and Henry will put it in play. It'll be Jimmy French, little 5'7" guard, stepping over the line. French is the only senior in the starting lineup for Vandy. No seniors among the substitutes, of which there are only 4. The pass into Jim Henry, who sends the Commodores back to the attack, trying to tie up this ball game. Henry down the left side of the double pivot to Hinton, watches French go through, fakes to break himself, gives out deep to Henry, breaks right side. Cox covers up beautifully on a switch with Smith, passes off the right side to Perry. Perry whips to Rowan, breaking across the 3-second zone, goes for the basket, hooks it back and in. Rowan, fine individual move for his 5th field goal, ties it up 36-all, and it's the 6th time the game has been tied. Hatton to Smith, right side to Krigler, in the pivot to Beck, here's a hook. Good. Ball hitting very hard on the backboards, but slowing up at the rim to drive in, and Beck gets his first field goal to put Kentucky in front 38-36. French in front court for Vandy, down the right side, passing deep to Rowan. Rowan over to the left side to Perry, outside to French. He's got Beck on him now. Passes back on the right side now to Perry as Beck gets back to Hinton. Defensively, here's Perry from 20 feet, missing. Off for the rebound is Johnny Cox. Comes rolling out, flips off to Adrian Smith going by. Moves into front court, lets Beck go through to the pivot, gives over to Hatton, down the left side to Krigler. Takes Perry to the baseline, spins out, gives to Odie Smith, and a 20-foot set shot. Good. Smith gets his 2nd field goal, and Kentucky leads 40-36 as the Wildcats, with their 9th point of the second half, take back the 4-point edge they held at halftime. Henry in front court gives to the right side of the double pivot to Perry, back to French, wide open, he lays it in. Jimmy French gets his 3rd field goal. Vandy's back within 2 points at 40-38. Hatton moving in front court, calling the play with a clenched left fist. Passes to Beck on the pivot, throws it behind the back of Hatton and out of bounds. Beck didn't pass the ball. He dropped it for a dribble and then slapped it behind Hatton's back. So with that mistake, Vandy's got a chance to tie it up. Jimmy French back in front court. Fakes to Henry, calls Rowan out in close quarters, gives him a 2-handed pass, and Rowan has it deep against Johnny Cox. Back to French, who brings it out deep. The double pivot overloaded strong to the right. Down the weak side to Hinton, whips to Henry wide open, and he missed it. Tapped up, no good by Hinton, and knocked out of bounds by Rowan. It goes to Kentucky. Beck whips quickly into Adrian Smith as Vandy missed 2 easy shots that trip to tie it up. Here's Smith out to Hatton, down the right to Krigler, back to Hatton. Smith goes through, the pass back to Cox. 20-footer, no good, it's short. Slapped beautifully by Krigler, just missing. Beck rebounds, throws it on the right side, and French knocks it out of bounds off the knee of Adrian Smith. Vanderbilt takes possession with a 2-point deficit with 13 and a half minutes in this game. Henry of Vanderbilt over the center stripe. Hooks a high pass on the left side to Jack Perry. Facing Krigler, he hands off to Rowan on the left side to Jimmy French, who brings it back out front. Vanderbilt strong to the left. French from the outside misses. It's short. Cox hooks in the rebound, drops it, throws it over the head of Beck, who picks it up and gives to Krigler. Up the way to Adrian Smith. French moves for him. Smith sees him, and French backs away. Up to Hatton, to Krigler on the left side. Moves it out. Henry tried to steal, didn't do it. Over to Smith, breaks for the basket on French and misses, but French fouled him. So Jimmy French draws his first foul of the game, and each team has committed 2 here in the second half after 7 minutes and 4 seconds. 1 shot to Adrian Smith. Smith's been to the free throw line 1 time, that in the first half, and he missed. Kentucky leads by 2 points as Smith's free throw's good. Kentucky leads 41-38 with a whistle at the baseline. Krigler has injured his right hand, looks like the middle finger right hand, and is getting some attention at the Kentucky bench, so this was an official's timeout. Adrian Smith, with his free throw, gets his 5th point of this half, and Kentucky leads 41-38. They're keeping the players in close. Krigler apparently has cut the right finger. Well, we'll be back with you at 8:45 Eastern Time from Montgomery, where Kentucky plays Alabama Saturday night over these same Standard Oil stations. Here in Lexington right now, 12 minutes 56 seconds to play. Kentucky 41, Vanderbilt 38 in a nip-and-tuck, hard-fought contest. Krigler coming back to action now. Krigler's playing with a black eye, too. He's got a real shiner. Picked it up from one of his teammates, Vernon Hatton, in the Mississippi State game. So now Vanderbilt has the ball to go back to action. Jimmy French moving it over the center stripe. Crisscrosses with Henry coming to the left side, down to Hinton on the double pivot. Beck takes him off deep. He fakes to drive, moves in, at the baseline, gets a shot off. It's good. So Don Hinton picks up his 4th field goal, and Vandy's within 1 point at 41-40. Commodores have had the game tied up twice in this second half. Down the left side to Cox, outside to Odie Smith. 30-foot set shot to the left, no good. Hatton gets the rebound in the left corner on the fine save. Into Cox, here's a hook. No good, short. Beck taps, no good. And Perry rebounds for Vanderbilt. So now the Commodores with possession have a chance to get their first lead of the second half. As Jimmy French gets it up into front court. Starts down the right side, stays deep, cutting to the left as Hatton picks him up on a switch with Smith. Whips down the left side to Hinton, turns to face back, watches Henry, gets it to him, out of shooting position, he gives back to Hinton, in the pivot to Perry, on Cox, he hooks good. And so Jack Perry, with his first point of the ball game, sends Vanderbilt in front for the first time in the second half, 42-41. They've outscored Kentucky by 5 points in the second half. Smith to Cox and back to Smith in front court. Down the right side goes Smith in the back block, passes out deep to Hatton, back to Smith. Smith in the right corner to Cox, starts down the baseline and Perry cuts him off. Looks under that basket at Krigler, can't get to him, and outside to Hatton. Hatton brings Cox out, starts to the right side. Perry picks him up. Rowan loses Cox, but he's picked up at the baseline by Hinton. Over to Smith, back to Cox in the right corner. Jump shot no good with a whistle under the basket. A pushing foul on French of Vanderbilt. His 2nd personal foul, and the 3rd on Vanderbilt this second half. John Krigler will have a chance to tie up the game. And at the same time, pick up his 20th point. 11 minutes and 22 seconds to play. Here's Krigler's chance. Good. And so it's tied up 42 all. 7th time the game has been tied up. Vanderbilt back to the attack with Jimmy French over the center stripe. Whips in high to Perry on the left side of the double pivot. Looks in under the basket, gives one that Cox knocks away from Hinton. Picks up, moving into Kentucky's front court. 2 against 3. He stops out deep. Lets Krigler move behind him, passes out to Hatton over to Smith. Kentucky overloads to the left. It goes to the weak side to Beck. Back to Hatton. 25-footer. Good. Vernon Hatton with his 3rd field goal sends Kentucky in front 44-42. Breaking the 7th tie of this contest. Jim Henry of Vandy back in front court. Passes right side to Perry. Hands off to Rowan, who brings it out deep and hands to Jimmy French. Vandy overloads to the right off the double pivot. French moves in on the right side, passes back out to Don Hinton. Hinton moving across, hands off to Henry, deep, back to Hinton. 25 feet away to the left to Rowan on the side. He breaks to the right on Beck, and Hatton takes it away from him, but a foul is called on Ed Beck. Beck drawing his second foul of the game, and now there are 3 personals against each team in the second half. Hatton came in to steal the ball in a double team situation, but Beck committed the foul from the rear, and Rowan goes to the Vanderbilt free throw line where he's hit 2 for 3. Here's Rowan, a one-hand shooter, hitting, and the score is 44-43 in favor of Kentucky, with Hatton quickly back in front court. Down the right side against French to Cox, a jump shot, no good. Tapped by Krigler, no good, taken off by Hinton to Vandy. Over to Henry, one-on-one against Ed Beck. He goes all the way and missed it. Tapped up beautifully by Jack Perry for his second field goal. And as Perry scores his second field goal, for the second time he gives Vanderbilt the lead with 10 minutes to go. It is 45-44 Vanderbilt. Here's Odie Smith in front court, straight away 30 feet. Giving left side to Hatton. He moves, and from 20 feet, he shoots no good. Cox slaps it out to Smith. Unable to handle it, Johnny made a fine play out of it as he controlled the tap to Smith. Gives back to him and over to Hatton. He weaves, gives back to Smith. 25-foot set. Good. Adrian Smith with his third field goal, this one from the outside. Puts Kentucky in front 46-45. 9.5 minutes to play. Up into front court's Jimmy French of Vanderbilt now. Over to Henry, deep and moving to the left. Down the side to Hinton. Hinton facing the basket against Krigler. Breaks for it now against John. Turns his back in, gives to Perry. Cox covers him up into Hinton. Cox takes it away. Rowan knocks it down. Eddie Smith picks it up for Kentucky. Whips to Hatton in front court. 2-2. Hatton, 20-footer, no good. Rebounding Jack Perry of Vanderbilt as Kentucky had no rebounding strength. Beck, Krigler, and Smith were at center court when Hatton shot. So with 9 minutes to go, Vandy's got it back. Jimmy French out deep, tom-tomming the ball, waving the left side of his double pivot up. Giving to Rowan as he moves out to the free throw line. Over to Perry, and a hook is way short, but Rowan rebounds wide open. Missed the shot, but he's fouled from the rear by John Krigler. Krigler draws his first foul of the game. Now there are 4 against Kentucky, and as we wait for the free throw, 10 seconds for station identification as Vanderbilt takes timeout number 4. This is the Blue and White Net. This is the Standard Oil Sports Network.
WVLK, Lexington, Kentucky. It's 3 minutes past 9 o'clock. The Lexington temperature, 3 degrees.
Well, back here at the Coliseum, we've got a game going now that rather obviously is going to go down to the wire. 8 minutes and 46 seconds to play. The game was tied at 42-all with 11:22 to go when Krigler hit a free throw and Hatton a field goal to put the Cats on top by 3 points, but a free throw made the difference there by Rowan, and Perry a tap in. Perry has 2 field goals, and with each field goal Perry has hit, he has given Vanderbilt a 1-point lead. Right now the count stands 46-45 in favor of Kentucky, but Vanderbilt is in possession of the ball when we go back to play. Kentucky's next action is Saturday in Montgomery against Alabama. So here on this 4th foul of the half against Kentucky, Ben Rowan, who's hit 3 out of 4, stands a chance to tie it up. Rowan stands out in the back of the circle as Kentucky, starting lineup intact, moves back in defensively. 1 shot comes to Rowan. Vanderbilt has had 4 times out, none for Kentucky as we move into the closing clutch minutes. Here's Rowan with a chance to tie it up. He does at 46-all. 8th time the game has been tied up now. Vernon Hatton moves back over the center stripe for the Wildcats, down the left side to Cox. Hatton breaks. Cox hits him at the baseline. He spins under with a foul against Jim Henry of Vanderbilt. For Henry, personal foul number 2, and we stand 4-4 on second half personals. Vernon Hatton will take 1 free throw, his first of the game, incidentally. Chance to give Kentucky the lead. Hatton, a 2-handed shooter, flips it up in between the knees, good. Kentucky leads 47-46. Jim Henry, 6-foot Vanderbilt captain, back in front court against Hatton, takes him down the left side, leaves it off with Perry out to French, whips right side to Rowan. Rowan takes a 1-bounce dribble. Krigler stabs and almost gets to it as the pass is out to French now. French moving slowly to the right, passing to Jack Perry. Brings it out to the free throw line, lays it off for Henry, and a jump shot to the left, no good. Beck gets the rebound, whips out over the shoulder of Krigler. 2-2 break over to Hatton, wide open under the basket. He's fouled as he tries to get in there by Jimmy French. 2 shots come as Jimmy French draws personal foul number 3. There are now 5 personals against Vandy as Vernon Hatton goes to the Kentucky free throw line for 2 shots. Kentucky holds a 1-point edge here with 8 minutes, 9 seconds to go. Here's Hatton's first try. No good. Hit the back of the rim and spun off. Hatton's missed a free throw. Smith's missed one. Beck's missed one. Everybody else has converted each one they've had. Here's Hatton with his second try. Good. Kentucky 48, Vanderbilt 46. French high into the backcourt to Henry and back to French. Against Odie Smith, he moves into front court, breaks down the right side, gets a shot away that's no good. Tapped by Perry, no good. Knocked down and out of bounds to Kentucky. Krigler quickly gives in to Adrian Smith. Up to Vernon Hatton. Moving up into front court for the Wildcats. Left side to Cox. Hatton breaks in. Gets French on him, who fouled him again from the rear. And that is 4 personal fouls on Jimmy French. As 6'3.5", Vernon Hatton is going to take the little 5'7" guy to the pivot. Well, Hatton ends up with 8.5 inches height advantage in that pivot. And into the Vanderbilt line is Doug Yates for the first time, replacing French. Yates, a 20-year-old sophomore from Alexandria, Virginia. 6'3", weighs 160. 3.9 scoring average on 66 points. Vernon Hatton has hit 2 for 3, shoots 1 on this 6th personal foul against Vanderbilt, which means on the rest of them against Vandy, the bonus rule is into effect. Hatton hits the free throw, and Kentucky leads 49-46. Up into front court now is Doug Yates of Vandy, a taller man at 6'3". He can handle Hatton if he goes to the pivot. Yates gives to Hinton in the pivot, breaks by him. Hinton throws one behind the back of Henry that Cox knocks out of bounds. Bounced right up off the back of the leg of Johnny Cox. Henry of Vandy will put it in play to the left of the basket over the baseline. Bounce pass to Peary in the left corner. Into Hinton now at the free throw line. He faces, pulls away from Beck and hits. Don Hinton with his 5th field goal pulls Vandy to within 1 point, 49-48. Vernon Hatton back in front court, whips Beck on the pivot, breaks for the basket. Outside pass to Smith, off the right to Krigler. Krigler gives to Beck on the pivot. Beck takes a bounce and a hook. Good. Ed Beck hooking in his 2nd field goal of the game. Puts Kentucky in front 51-48. Rowan falls away from Beck and misses. Have a pushing foul on Hinton. Don Hinton of Vandy pushed Johnny Cox and going for that rebound, and it's the 2nd personal foul on Hinton. Johnny Cox goes to the line with a bonus rule now in effect against Vandy. Ed Beck has unloosed 2 booming hook shots here tonight in the second half. 6 minutes, 52 seconds to play. Cox on the free throw line for 1 shot, but a chance to get 2 points to a 3-point advantage. He shoots. No good. Almost rolled off on the right side. Cox goes in for the bonus try now as Kentucky has finally regained its halftime 4-point edge. Here's bonus shot by Cox. Good. Just climbing the front of that rim in time for a 53-48 advantage. It is Kentucky's longest lead of the game. Longest lead for either team, as a matter of fact. Vandy had 3 3-point edges in the first half. Don Hinton whips to Peary against Cox, an elbowing foul. Johnny Cox drawing his 2nd personal foul. That's 5 against Kentucky now in the second half with 6 minutes, 41 seconds to go. Jack Peary will take 1. Peary is 0 for 1 at the free throw line. He shoots good, and the score is 53-49. Vernon Hatton pulling Kentucky back up the front court with a pass over to Odie Smith. The Cats lead by 4. Left side to Cox, out to Hatton. In the pivot to Beck. He's deep at the top rim of the circle. Whips under the basket to Cox. He can't hold it, and Vanderbilt's got it as Hinton bats it over to Henry. Jim Henry bringing Vandy back into front court now. Breaks down to the left corner against Hatton. Quick shot's good. Jim Henry gets his 5th field goal, and Vandy's within 2 points at 53-51. Vernon Hatton back in front court. Left side to Cox. Outside to Smith with a whistle and a foul on Vanderbilt's Doug Yates. For Yates, that's personal foul number 1. Bonus rule in effect now as Hatton goes to the free throw line. He is 3 for 4. 6 minutes and 7 seconds still in this contest as Hatton's free throw. Good. To put the Cats in front by 3 points. Now the bonus shot to the Kentucky co-captain. playing his last scheduled game here before the home crowd. Bonus shot good. Kentucky 55, Vanderbilt 51. Jim Henry bringing the Commodores back to the attack now. High pass to Hinton at the free throw line. He turns and shoots. Hatton blocks, and Cox gets it. Over to Adrian Smith. Moving back into front court. Passing to Hatton. Down the right side to Cox. Fakes a break to the basket. Rowan cuts him off. Over to Smith, to back to Smith. A screen. He breaks left. Almost ran into Hatton. Gives back to Vernon. Moving to the right side. Playing Hatton loosely out deep now. Rowan backs away. Hatton pulls up on the dribble. Whips to Beck at the free throw line. He takes a one-bounce dribble and out to Hatton. Says something to Odie Smith. Johnny Cox in on the pivot fighting with Jim Henry for position. Hatton attack for the moment, then gives to Beck. Back to Hatton over to Krigler on the left side. Krigler looks at Cox and Beck both in on the pivot. Out to Hatton over to Odie Smith. Deep now with Doug Yates on him. Bounce pass to Cox. Spins to the left. A pushing foul against Vanderbilt's Jim Henry. That's 3 fouls on Henry. Stops the clock with 5 minutes 17 seconds to play. Johnny Cox goes free throw shooting. Bonus rule in effect against Vandy. Kentucky holds a 4-point edge. Longest lead of the game was 5, 53-48. Cox shoots good. Kentucky leads for the second time by 5 points, and here's the bonus try by the 6'4" Johnny Cox, the only starter who will be back next year. The bonus try is good. Kentucky leads 57-51. Their first lead of 6 points in this tight game. The Cats led only 31-27 at halftime. Henry in front court, drives down the left side on Hatton, gives in, and Peary wide open, shoots no good, fouled by Johnny Cox. For Johnny Cox, that's 3 personal fouls, and that's 6 on Kentucky, which means that from here on, a foul against either team brings in the bonus rule, and Peary will take 2. Perry's hit 1 and missed 1 in previous attempts. Here's his first shot good. We have 5 minutes and 8 seconds to play. The score, Kentucky 57, Vandy 52, and Perry has a chance to drop it back to 4. Here's the shot good, and so the Cats lead is 4 points, 57-53. Vernon Hatton to Adrian Smith, moving into front court. Down the left side to Cox, out to Hatton. Hatton to Beck on the pivot from 20 feet, good. Ed Beck from 20 feet gets his 3rd field goal and 6th point of this half to make it 59-53 and Kentucky's second 6-point lead. Henry gives to Perry on the left side. A one-bounce dribble and out to Doug Yates. He breaks left, has the shot blocked by Odie Smith, fights for it, it's on the floor. He's got it, picks it up, and walks with it. And it's out of bounds to Kentucky. Bob Polk up off the Vanderbilt bench, yelling as the ball goes in under the press table. Adrian Smith of Kentucky will put it in play with 4.5 minutes to go. Gives to Vernon Hatton, who waves to Smith to get to his right. And Hatton moves into front court. Passes left side to Cox, breaks for the pivot. Hatton and Cox threw him a blind pass right to Doug Yates of Vanderbilt, who moves into front court. Hatton knocks it away into the Vanderbilt bench. Cats lead 59-53. Vanderbilt's ball off the right corner deep in the offensive court. Pass to Rowan on the right side. Odie Smith knocked it down and out of bounds. So Vanderbilt gets it on the right side of the offensive court here, just in front of our broadcast position. Doug Yates, a deep bounce pass to Jim Henry. Henry taking it to the left side as we go into the last 4 minutes. Here's the pass to Rowan at the free throw line, breaks to the right, gives to Perry against Krigler. He hooks, no good, to the left. Knocked down and taken by Hinton, who lays it in, falling away for his 6th field goal, and Vanderbilt's within 4 points. It's 59-55 for Kentucky. 3 minutes, 38 seconds to go. Vernon Hatton in front court. Gives left side to Cox. Outside to Smith. Smith over to Krigler. To Beck, 20-footer, in and out. Taken off by Perry of Vanderbilt as he knocked it down to his teammate Ben Rowan. Over to Doug Yates, who moves back in front court. Breaks away from Hatton, and from 15 feet, he misses. Tapped up, no good by Rowan, and Krigler takes it off for Kentucky. Passes over to Adrian Smith. 3 minutes, 10 seconds to go. Kentucky 59, Vanderbilt 55. As these clubs battled right away on even terms. Hatton out deep now, hands to Odie Smith, moving to the left to Cox as Jimmy French waits to get back in for the Commodores. In the pivot to Beck. Beck a one-bounce dribble and out to Smith. He moves to the left, backs away. As Yates moves in on him, he gives to Beck. Knocked down, Beck picks it up, moves to the right, gives to Hatton. Hatton holding it out of play on the right side as the clock now shows 2 minutes, 40 seconds to go. Here's Hatton, 20-footer, good. Vernon Hatton unleashes his 4th field goal, and Kentucky leads 61-55. That's the third 6-point lead for the Cats as Vanderbilt takes timeout number 5. Clock stops, 2 minutes, 31 seconds to go. And Jimmy French checks into the Commodore lineup. So Vanderbilt has now used up all times out allowable with their 5th timeout of the game. 2 minutes, 31 seconds yet to go, and Kentucky holds a 61-55 lead with Vandy in possession at midcourt. Well, the game was tied for the 8th time at 46-all when Vernon Hatton, with a free throw, broke the tie, and Vanderbilt has so far been unable to catch the Wildcats. But we still have plenty of action time left, so stand by. This game has been nip and tuck all the way. Vandy has been able to wrest the lead from the Cats in both halves of play. In the first half, they built up 3 3-point advantages. Kentucky right now is on top by 6 points for the 3rd time in the game, all of them here in the second half. Kentucky led only 31-27 at halftime, which means right at this point the Cats have outscored Vandy by only 2 points in the second half. Jim Henry and Jimmy French are back at the guards as Doug Yates has come out. Henry is at center court to put the ball in play with no change in the Kentucky lineup. Stand by for action. The pass is into French, straddling the center stripe. He gives a high one to Hinton. Henry breaks by. Hinton holds it up over his head, wide open. He takes a 20-footer, good. So Hinton gets his 7th field goal, cuts the Kentucky lead back to 4 points. 61-57. Vernon Hatton in front court, gives left side to Cox. Breaks to the pivot with little 5'7" French against him, playing out in front, however. Here it is back out to Smith, over to Krigler. Back out deep to Adrian Smith, moves to the left against Henry, gives to Cox on the left side. Back to Smith with Henry on him. In the pivot it goes to Beck, back to Odie Smith, breaks for the basket, lays it up no good, with a foul against Vanderbilt's Don Hinton, his 3rd personal foul. The bonus rule is in effect against each team now. Adrian Smith is on the free throw line. He's hit 1, missed 1. 1 minute, 58 seconds to play. Every shot's a clutch one now. Smith misses. Vanderbilt's Ben Rowan takes it off. And so Vanderbilt's got their golden chance here now. Jimmy French up into front court for Vandy. Breaks to the top rim of the circle, gives to Henry moving down the right side. Cox takes it away. And Henry takes it away from Cox and shoots. Good. So there was a close steal by Johnny Cox that he lost. And on the field goal, number 6 by Henry, Vandy trails by only 2 points, 61-59. A high pass to Beck. A one-bounce dribbling off the right to Krigler, out deep to Smith. Smith back to Krigler on the right side. Now deep to Hatton. French tries to steal, fails. Over to Krigler. He fakes, breaks in on Perry. Double team, gives a high pass to Adrian Smith. Whips one across the way to Vernon Hatton. He takes a 20-footer. No good. Fight for the ball. Who's got it? It's out of bounds to Kentucky. 1 minute, 10 seconds to play. Kentucky 61, Vanderbilt 59. Ed Beck is out of bounds to call his play. Gives to Cox in the right corner. Outside deep to Vernon Hatton now. Hatton in the pivot to Beck. Beck a one-bounce dribble and out deep to Smith. 55 seconds to go. Smith breaks right on Henry. Moves to the right corner. Makes no attempt to shoot. Has to call Johnny Cox in close to him. Cox gets it, takes to the right corner. Outside deep pass to Smith, over to Hatton as Kentucky moves it down now with 43 seconds to play. Here it is to Beck, 25 feet away from the basket though. Out to Smith, breaks left and fouled by Jim Henry, drawing his 4th foul for Vandy. Clock stops, 37 seconds to go. And Odie Smith on that free throw line. Bonus rule in effect, meaning Smith can give Kentucky a 4-point edge. Here he goes with his first shot. Good. Now the Cats lead by 3 as Adrian Smith takes his bonus try. 37 seconds to go, though. Here's the bonus shot. Good. Kentucky 63, Vanderbilt 59. Jimmy French swings back to the attack court against Smith. Takes him down the left side. Gives off to Jack Perry. Out to Henry. Breaking left side against Hatton. Shoots. No good. Taken off by Henry. No good. Taken off by Rowan, and a pushing foul on Johnny Cox of Kentucky with 24 seconds to go. Number 24 fouling with 24 seconds to go. Johnny Cox has got 4 personals now, as have both Vanderbilt guards, Henry and French. Bonus rule applies in this situation. Ben Rowan is on the free throw line, and he's hit 4 out of 5. 63-59. Kentucky leads. Here's Rowan, ready to go. The shot, good. So now Rowan takes the bonus try with a chance to reduce the Kentucky lead to 2 points. It's now 63-60. Here he goes. The shot, good. Kentucky 63, Vanderbilt 61. Smith gets it over to Hatton. Bandy picking up. Johnny Cox is all by himself. But Hatton has quickly been fouled, though, by Vanderbilt's Ben Rowan, his third personal foul. 19 seconds to go as Hatton moves up to the free throw line. Johnny Cox was wide open then. Vanderbilt had completely abandoned him. So now Hatton shoots with a bonus rule applying. 19 seconds and a 2-point Kentucky lead. The shot, good. Kentucky leads by 3 points. 19 seconds to play. Bonus shot for Hatton. Adrian Smith backed up in safety. Hatton, a two-hand shooter, hits. Kentucky 65, Vanderbilt 61. French rapidly back for the Commodores against Adrian Smith from 20 feet. He misses. Here's it slapped by Perry. No good. Cox gets the rebound for Kentucky. Hatton wide open. Cox in front court has it taken away by Rowan of Vanderbilt. They got French wide open. Here it is up to Hinton. 3 seconds to go. He shoots. No good. Tapped up by Perry, and the ball game is over. So Vanderbilt has made a tremendous battle out of it before finally saying goodbye, 65-61. So Kentucky has had to come back, pour out everything they had to beat Vanderbilt for the second time this season and get their 10th conference win against 1 defeat, their 17th win of the season after 5 defeats. Well, Vanderbilt is now out of it, and Bob Polk, who has coached a great team here, gets a great pat on the back from Adolph Rupp as the two coaches meet in center court briefly and then part. You can tell by the way that Vandy players leave the floor, they had counted on winning this one. Well, we'll have all the individual scoring and highlights for you in just a moment. Get the new tires you need now from your Standard Oil dealer. He offers you the famous long-wearing Atlas tire, sold and serviced by over 38,000 tire dealers from coast to coast at prices unexcelled for safety and mileage. Not only that, but the Atlas tires he offers you are such fine quality that Standard Oil's written guarantee on these tires has been extended. With each Atlas Plycron Cushion Air tire you buy now, you get a written guarantee against all road hazards for 18 months. And with each Atlas Grip Safe tire, you receive a guarantee against all road hazards for 1 full year. Get the tires with the best guarantee. Get Atlas tires from your Standard Oil dealer. Now here's the way the individual scoring went at tonight's ball game. John Krigler led the Cats with 17 points. He finished in the first half, but he finished up with only 20 as Krigler was held to 3 points, a field goal and a free throw in the second half. For the game, Krigler had 9 field goals and 2 for 2 at the free throw line. The next man in field goals was Vernon Hatton, who set out about half of the game. Hatton hit 4 field goals, and at the free throw line, 7 for 8. And a total of 15 points, a shade under his 17-2 average. Hatton tonight, though, hit 6 free throws in a row in the clutch when Vanderbilt was trying to come from 6 points behind. Kentucky was never able to increase the lead more than 6, a lead which they held on 3 different occasions. So behind, John Krigler with 20 and Vernon Hatton with 15. We go to Adrian Smith with 9, all of them in the second half. 3 field goals and 3 for 5 at the free throw line. Ed Beck tonight picked up 7 points, or 3 points better than his average. He had 3 field goals and 1 for 2 at the free throw line, and Beck hit 3 field goals in the second half clutch play. Johnny Cox tonight got 1 field goal, but he did get into double figures with 10 points as he got all 8 of his free throw attempts. And Cox with 10 points was only the 3rd Kentuckian in double figures. Earl Atkins, the only substitute, had 4 points, a field goal and 2 free throws. And that's the Kentucky scoring, Krigler leading with 20. For Vanderbilt, the leading scorer was, as perhaps you would guess, Jim Henry, who came into the game averaging 21.5, but he was held to 16 points. He had 6 field goals and 4 free throws. And, oddly enough, he got 8 points in each half of play. He got 6 field goals and 4 for 4 at the free throw line. Don Hinton tonight picked up 14 points on 7 field goals. The other Vanderbilt scoring tonight, Ben Rowan, who played as a substitute just briefly against Kentucky in Nashville, and didn't score a point, came out with 16 tonight to tie Jim Henry for the scoring lead. Rowan had 5 field goals, and at the free throw line he hit 6 out of 7. It was his last free throw that kept Vanderbilt in striking distance in the last 19 seconds. 7 points for substitute Jack Peary on 2 field goals and 3 for 4 at the free throw line. The other substitute, Doug Yates, did not score. 6 points for Jimmy French on 3 field goals. He missed his only free throw. And Hub Hoagland, 2 points in the first half on a field goal. So that's the scoring for Vanderbilt. We have the shooting percentages. Vanderbilt incidentally beat Kentucky on field goals tonight, 24-21, but the Wildcats made up the deficit at the free throw line. Vanderbilt outshot Kentucky by 64-54. By that we mean they were able to take more shots. They hit 24 of 64. We have them shooting 37.5%. Kentucky hit 38.9% as they got their 21 field goals on 54 shots. The Cats led by 31-27 at halftime, and that means, of course, the two teams played evenly through the entire second half. So Krigler leads Kentucky with 20 points. Rowan and Henry lead Vanderbilt, each with 16. Looking at the averages, Henry's 21.5 point average, we got 16 tonight. Rowan came into the game averaging less than 5 points a game and ended up with 16. Officially, the shooting percentages we gave you are correct. And in the rebounding department, Vanderbilt has out-rebounded Kentucky 37-36. Vanderbilt got 5 more rebounds than Kentucky in the second half of play. And those are the highlights from tonight's Kentucky-Vanderbilt game. Vanderbilt has now been eliminated from the conference picture. We'd like to thank our statistician Bob Cox and our engineer Noel Robertson of Lexington radio station WVLK. On Saturday night, Standard Oil Company and Standard Oil dealers throughout Kentucky, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, and Mississippi will bring you the game between U of K and the University of Alabama from Montgomery at 8:45 Eastern Time. Be sure to listen in. There's always hope as long as there are signs of life. Let signs and markings on street and highway be your guide to safer driving. Watch them and obey them. Now, this is Claude Sullivan speaking from Memorial Coliseum on the campus of the University of Kentucky in Lexington, wishing you good night for Standard Oil Company and Standard Oil dealers. Your final score again, Kentucky 65, Vanderbilt 61.